As you can see, I have a lot of things on this illustration here, but for now, we're going to focus on this corner right here. This is source energy. This is God. Source means origin. This is uninfluenced energy. This is unconditioned energy. This is love. Even in tennis, they say 0 equals love. This is 0 point. And this avatar represents you in equilibrium to source energy. You are uninfluenced. Nothing has depressed you. Nothing has tricked you. No one can hurt you. This is the beginning. You are uninfluenced in love. And let's say you emerge from source energy in equilibrium and you begin to take on concepts. And as you take on concepts with your free will, your energy begins to form with the thoughts and concepts that you take on. And once you take on these concepts, a conception happens. And conception means to birth. And now a persona is birthed based on the concepts that you've taken on. So even though you were uninfluenced, as you emerged in freeness, you took on concepts. There was a conception, and a persona was conceived, was birthed. And so that persona consists of terms, and those terms have conditioned you. So even though in the beginning you were unconditional, you took on concepts, and a persona, a conditioned persona, was conceived. And that persona has set up a mental construct. And in that mental construct, that persona is interacting with others. And if they do something that is in violation of their mental construct, they say, he tricked me. Now, I want you to really think about this. Even though they're saying he tricked me, it is only because they have left uninfluenced, unconditional energy, and they have taken on concepts that has conditioned them. And if someone breaks those terms and conditions, or the mindset that they are now contracted to, they feel an energy within the body. And they've labeled that energy. He's tricked me. And so that energy, even though it was uninfluenced energy in source, they've taken on a conditional being, state of being. And even though that energy that they feel is not in equilibrium to source, they gave names to the energy. He tricked me. Instead of realizing that the energy is not of love, they began to interact with each other. And instead of returning to unconditional energy, they create a world in which you can blame the other for feeling the conditional energy, which really just keeps you in the conditional energy. They create a state of being outside of divine being. They create a human being, and that human being has a language. He tricked me. You hurt me. Even though there was no hurt in source energy and uninfluenced energy, which is love, which is your original state, they take on concepts, they birth a persona, and within that persona, they're now saying, You broke the terms that my mind go by. You broke the terms that I was conditioned to. And so you don't love me. Even though love is just your uninfluenced state, they're now saying you don't love me. They've wrote a character underneath the conditions outside of unconditional energy. Now, if they take all of these terms off and conditions, you can just return to uninfluenced source energy, which is love. But they created a love below. These two beings created a love below. You don't love me because you breached my terms and conditions. So these two beings came from love. And so they are trying to return in the best way they can, the best way they know how, but they're dreaming of love in a lower degree. And so they begin to take on concepts. And those concepts are called religion. And then those concepts, they take on those concepts and they create religion from those concepts. Okay, this is how we should love. This is how we should do this. And now they are doing something within the very terms that left love. They created a state of being in which they now do things inside of the conditional state. Okay, to return to love, we must do this, we must do that. So instead of alchemizing the very consciousness of the conditions to return to source, they now created these words called religion. And so the person over here says, they tricked us. They're lying to us with the religion. So even when you say they're lying to us with the religion, the fact that you yourself started from uninfluenced energy, every time you think or accept a belief in a sense, you're writing on your brain. Every time you accept something, you're writing on your brain. So now that you're saying they lied to us, religion is lying to us, you now will not return to source energy, because in source, there was no concept called religion. So you have written a character that has placed yourself under the concept of religion, which is still a conditioned term outside of the unconditional. So you are saying you hurt me. I can't feel love because you hurt me. I can't feel love because you tricked me. Within your little conditioned mindset, you have created terms to live by. He patronized me. All patronize means is I set up a little construct. They've breached the little mindset that I have. And so I'm going to call this word patronize me. So we live in a depressed state of being. And even though this is unconditional, now we're walking around saying I'm depressed because they breached my terms. They did something that I didn't like and it depressed me. When true depression is the fact that there were no terms that had conditioned you in the beginning, and you depressed yourself into a limited construct and birth a limited persona. And now people are saying he's this, he's that. And the very words, he patronized me, he's tricked me, he's this, he's condescending, he's that, don't pay attention to this, don't pay attention, will keep you in the very mentality in contrast to source energy. Every time you speak to someone, you're going by a language outside of source energy. They created a language to validate staying in source energy. Beware of this person. They tricked me. Beware. It's not about blaming anyone outside of you. It's not about, if you blame someone outside of you in association with the terms, you create a character that stays conditioned. And so that very blame is writing a character that keeps you outside of source energy. But you are always working in conjunction to source energy. So even when you say you hurt me and you use these terms, you are manifesting and sustaining a character that can be hurt. There was no heart to break in source energy. You can't break something that's unlimited. They broke my heart. You're saying they broke these terms that I've set up. This world has a mass consciousness, and the mass consciousness is blaming the external source instead of going within, looking at what it's connected to in association to these terms, and alchemizing. So the very people you see blaming is sustaining the very persona that was conceived outside of source energy. Doesn't matter how you feel. Well, I feel this way. Your feelings were derived from these terms. Before you took on these terms, you were just in a state of love. There was, this person hurt me, so I'm not in love. You are love. So when you hear a person saying, this person is this person is this, don't do this to this person. Pay attention to how this person does this. It only has validation in this persona that was birthed outside of source energy. The very language and concepts that people use, no matter how valid you feel that it is, keeps you conditioned and separated from the very essence in which you came from. You are always manifesting. Source began as neutral energy, took on concepts, and manifested this persona. And now this persona is saying, I want to know how to manifest. The persona that's saying it is a manifestation of source. You're always manifesting. This is why I tell you, I'm not attacking meditation. I'm trying to tell you that you're always meditating. To walk into the room and sit in silence and then to go back out and go by these very terms will still keep you in a state of the very conception persona. You must 360-degree meditate if you choose to. You hurt me. No matter how valid the words feel, no matter how valid you think the person that did this, whenever you look outside of yourself, whenever you sustain the very character. This is why I take the time to break up the earthen narrative. Look at the things we're saying. Look at the things that we're calling love. Look at the things that we're saying. They tricked me with religion. You're still creating a character under the condition of religion. There was no religion at first. Someone made it up. So why would you write a character and put yourself underneath what someone made up when you can just alchemize the connection with this made up concept and return to source? Anytime you see someone talking about someone else, they are under the spelling of these words. They are conditioned. This is why I point out the conditions. I just point, look at what we're calling love. Love is not if somebody added you or not. Love is not someone on Facebook or not. So to me, I'm just showing you how to undo the very conditions of the earthen narrative. All I do is point to what we are conditioned to.